All right. Good evening, Zainab. Zainab, please confirm if I'm audible to you or not.
Yes.
All right. All right, both of you. So in today's session, we will be starting a new chapter. I hope everything that we discussed in the previous sessions are clear to both of you. If you have any doubts, you can ask me. Otherwise, we will continue with the new chapter. Is everything clear regarding the previous one?
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
All right. So let's continue. First of all, let's just start with the meaning of accounting equation. What is actually accounting equation? Give me a moment. All right. See, in order to understand accounting equation, accounting equation. So what do you mean by accounting equation? See, uh, during the operations of business, there are various transactions. Various transactions take place. Like the transaction basically means various financial transactions are undertaken, like the purchase of goods, sale of goods, borrowing, lending, paying of rent, salary, wages, buying machinery, buying building. All of these are financial transactions, right? And all these transactions affect the all the financial transaction, or you can call them business transaction, collectively affect the asset and liability of the business. Financial transaction affect what? It affect the asset and liabilities of a business. Like for example, if we borrow certain funds from the bank, if let's suppose borrowings have been made, borrowings of rupees 50,000 were made from the bank. So this borrowing is going to affect the asset as well as the liability of the business. How it is going to affect the asset of the business? It is going to affect the business by way of cash. See, when you will borrow 50,000 from bank, there will be going to increase in the amount of cash balance in the business, and at the same time it will also create a kind of obligation. Borrowing is what? Borrowing is a kind of obligation, right? So what I'm saying is that any kind of business transaction, any kind of financial transaction affect to affect it affect both asset and liability. And to indicate the effect how any transaction is affecting the asset or liability, what do? We prepare the accounting equation. We make accounting equation. So what if in order to explain accounting equation, we can say that accounting equation is a mathematical equation. It is a mathematical equation. It is a mathematical equation which helps us to understand the effect of any financial transaction, any business transaction upon the asset and liability. Accounting equation is what? Accounting equation is a mathematical equation that helps us to determine the effect of any business transaction upon the asset and liability. How any business transaction is affecting the asset, how it is affecting the liability. So in order to understand the effect of any business transaction upon the asset and liability, what do? We prepare the accounting equation. So accounting, in order to find the accounting equation, we can say that we can say that accounting equation is what? Accounting equation is a mathematical expression that shows the asset and liability of a firm are equal. We'll talk about this, but for the timing, just keep that in mind. Accounting equation helps us to understand the effect of any business transaction upon the asset and liability of the business. Through accounting equation, we will be able to identify the effect of any business transaction or financial transaction upon the asset and liability. Like for example, if we are selling goods is a kind of it is a business transaction. Selling of goods is a business transaction. So whenever a business sells goods, whenever a firm or a company is selling goods, how it will affect the asset, how it will affect the liability, we will be able to determine that through the accounting equation. Got it? So accounting equation is a mathematical expression that helps us to understand the effect of any business transaction upon the asset and liability of the business. Now, according to accounting equation, what does accounting equation say? Accounting equation basically says that accounting equation, as per accounting equation, total assets of the business are always considered to be equal to total claims of the business. Total asset of the business is assumed to be equal to the total claims of the business. So what do you mean by claims? See, claim basically include both the claims. Claims towards the outsider and towards the inside. Toward the, the claims include both the internal claim as well as the external claim. Internal claim, by internal claim, what do you mean by internal claim? And what do you mean by external claims? See, so what I'm saying is that according to accounting equation basically says that the total asset of the business is always equal to the total claims. When it comes to total claim include internal as well as the external claims. So what do you mean by internal claim? Internal claim basically means claim towards the claim of the owner of the business. That is called capital. Amount introduced by the owner of the business as a capital is considered to be an internal claim. It is an internal liability. And then there are external claims, which is simply known as liability. So when you will add liability and capital, liability basically means outsiders claim and capital basically means internal claim. So when you will add capital plus liability, it will be equal to total claims of the business, and total claims of the business is always equal to the total asset of the business. This is what the accounting equation basically says. So just a minute. Coming back to the note, as I told you, accounting equation is what? Accounting equation is a mathematical equation on the basis of which you will be able to determine the effect of any business or financial transaction upon the asset and liability. So what is actually accounting equation? See, this is the accounting equation. Accounting equation basically says total asset of the business will always be equal to total claims of the business. Right? Total asset of the business is always equal total claims of the business. Total claims is also known as total claims are also known as total equities. Total claims are also known as total equities. And total equities are further divided as the owner's equity and the outsider's equity. Internal equity or the external equities. Owner's equity. Owner's equity basically means the amount invested by the owner. And if the fund is borrowed from the outsider and any obligation is against the towards the outsider, then it will be considered as the outsider's equity. Outsider's equity. Now, when it comes to owner's equity is also known as capital. And outsiders equity is called liability. This is liability. See, collectively, capital and the outsiders equities collectively are liability. But just to classify the claims, what we have done, if the amount invested by the owner, this is obviously an obligation upon the business, but this will be known as capital. And amount given by the outsiders to the business, that will be considered as the liability, just for the purpose of identifying that which amount has been given by which which party, whether it is an internal claim or the external claim. So the thing is that when it comes to accounting equation, we simply say that the total asset equals to capital plus liability. This is the accounting. This is what we call accounting equation. This is what we call an accounting equation. This is our main accounting equation. Now we can further make following equation out of it. Like we can also say that the in order to, let's suppose if we just want to find out the value of the capital, so the equation for finding the capital will be total asset minus the liability, assets minus liability. Can we write it this way also? Yes or no? Can we write this equation as capital equals to total asset minus liability as well? And if we want to determine the value of the liability, then liability equals to, tell me, so total assets minus the capital. Got it? Can we also write it this way? This equation can be written as this, A or B. Yes or no? Yes. All right. So coming to the PowerPoint, see, we can define the accounting equation as, yeah, accounting equation is what? Accounting equation is a mathematical expression. It is a mathematical expression that shows the total asset of the business is always equal to the liability of the firm. Total asset and liability are equal. Liability, basically, here I am saying that liability is basically, in liability include the internal liability and the external liability. So total asset of the business will always be equal to internal liability, that is capital, plus external liability, that is other liabilities. And through accounting equation, what does the accounting equation do for us? Accounting equation enables us to identify the effect of any transaction, any business transaction, upon the assets and liability of the business. And accounting equation, according to accounting equation, total claims will always be equal to, as I said, total assets of the firm. And total claims is also known as equities, right? Total asset is also known as equities. Equity. And equity is further divided into two parts: owner's equity or the outsider's equity. So owner's equity is considered as the capital, outsider equity is just any other liability. So to simplify, we can write down accounting equation as total asset equal to total claims, or we can also further simplify it and write it as asset equal to liability plus capital. But if we want to determine the value of the liability, then for that purpose, we can write this equation as asset minus capital. And to determine the value of the capital, then in such a situation, the equation will be asset minus liability. I hope it is clear to both of you. Yes or no? Zainab and Labiba, is it clear? Everything that I discuss is clear, yes or no? Yes, okay. All right, so everyone, before moving forward, I just want both of you to write all these things in your notebook. And once you are done, let me know, then we'll move to the next slide. Please write this down. Also note this slide and this one as well. And then finally, we will be moving to the next slide. This one. All right, please note this down.
Done, sir.
Done, both of you?
Yes.
Okay. Also write this.
Can you move on to the next slide?
Sorry, couldn't hear you properly. Could you please repeat?
Can you move to the next slide?
Yes. Zainab, you are done.
Yes, sir.
All right. And skip this slide. Move to the just write this one.
Slide finished.
Done, both of you.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right. So moving to the next point. See, an accounting question is based on the dual aspect concept of accounting, which means every transaction have two aspect of two aspect. That means every transaction at least affect two areas. We will try to understand what is the meaning of the debit and credit later, but for the time being, just avoid these points, avoid these words debit and credit. Just for the time being, keep that in mind that whenever any transactions happens in a business, any transaction affect at least two aspect of the business. So what do you mean by two aspect? Two aspect basically means the liability or the asset. All right. So every transaction affect two aspect of the business. Either it will affect the asset or liability or both, but it will be affecting at least two areas of business. Got it? So this is what accounting equation basically says. Accounting equation says that every transaction affect two areas of business, two aspect of business. That is what we call dual aspect concept, affecting every transaction affecting or having two aspect. One is considered as the debit aspect and the credit aspect. We'll cover these points later, but for the time being, just keep that in mind that every transaction affecting every transaction have two aspects, and that is considered as the dual aspect concept. All right, moving on. Like for example, just to illustrate this, just to help you understand what actually the dual aspect basically means. To illustrate this, we will take this example. Like for example, a business is purchasing goods for rupees 10,000. All right, purchase goods for rupees 10,000 by a business. So tell me, when we purchase goods for rupees 10,000, what are the two things it is going to affect in a business? Let me tell you. Firstly, since we are buying goods by paying 10,000, that means first of all it is going to affect the cash, and it is also going to increase the amount of good. Got it? When we buy goods, what will happen? Cash will reduce and goods will increase. So this is what I'm calling double aspect. This one single transaction is affecting two areas, cash as well as goods for the business. Cash is reducing, and goods are increasing. This is what we call every transaction have dual aspect. One is increasing, one is decreasing. Got it? I hope this point is clear. Labiba.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Yes,
So
sir.
I'm giving you another example, and just want to know, what do you think, which two aspect of the business will get affected? See, purchase of goods for rupees 20,000 on credit from Anju. Tell me, what are the two things it is going to affect? When we buy goods for rupees 20,000 on credit from Anju, what will happen in a business? How it is going to impact the business?
Goods will
Anyone?
be less.
Sorry, Labiba, could you speak louder, please?
Sir, I'm not audible.
Yeah, I don't know why your voice is feeble today. You're sounding too low.
Okay.
Keep your microphone closer to your mouth so that I'm able to hear you properly.
Yes,
Zainab,
that,
would you mind answering this, please? Purchase goods for rupees 20,000 on credit from Anju. How it is going to impact the business? What two aspect of the business will be affecting because of this transaction? Okay, no problem. Let me help you with this. First of all, see, since we are buying goods for rupees 20,000, na, but we are buying it on credit. So firstly, because we are buying goods, it is going to increase the amount of goods available in the business, right? Is that clear? Goods will increase, yes or no? Goods will increase, yes or no?
Yes, sir. Yes.
But since we are buying goods on
Cash will
credit,
reduce.
is it going to subtract the cash, yes or no?
Yes, sir.
No, it is not going to impact the cash. Rather, it will create an obligation. Since you are buying goods on credit, so it is going to increase your creditors, right? The person from whom you buy goods on credit is considered as the creditor. So goods will increase as well as the creditors will also increase. Goods comes under the category of the assets. Is that clear? So assets will increase. On the other hand, liability will also be affected, and this is going to increase your overall liability. Got it? When we buy goods on credit, it is going to increase the amount of goods and increase the overall liability since we are buying it on credit. Yes or no? Is it clear? Tell me, both of you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right. All right. So just a minute. I want you to note this point. I want you to note this point. Accounting equation is based on dual aspect concept of accounting, which means every transaction have two aspects, debit and credit. Done?
Sir, I wrote. Yes.
All
Yes,
right.
sir.
Also write down the example. Also note down the example. These examples will be very much helpful when we will be actually solving question based on accounting equation. So you must be very attentive and very focused while understanding all these examples. These are very relevant examples. We will be, when we will start doing questions based on accounting equation, it will be extremely helpful for you. So we will cover so many examples, and then only we will be starting our main question from this chapter. But maybe in today's session we will cover the example. Tell me when you are done. Done. Okay. All right.
Done,
Moving
sir.
on. Also note this example. Purchase goods for rupees 20,000 on credit from Anju. Plus asset basically means assets are increasing, liability will also increase. Plus asset plus liability. Because of this transaction, assets are increasing and liability is also increasing.
Sir, I'm done.
Done. I'm moving to the next slide.
Done.
And next example is also for you. You need to tell me which two things will get affected due to this transaction. Bought furniture for rupees 40,000. Tell me. Bought furniture obviously for business for rupees 40,000. Tell me which two things will get affected. quickly.
Done, sir.
Done. Tell me, Zainab. Tell me, Zainab.
What? Yeah, sir, done.
You are done. I'm not asking whether you are done or not. I'm asking what will be the answer for this question. When we buy goods for rupees 40,000, how it is going to affect the, or what two things it will be affecting?
Asset.
The goods will increase and like
Mm-hmm.
the asset,
Mm-hmm.
and the cash will also increase.
Sorry, which will also increase?
Credit, cash.
Cash will also increase. Okay. Zainab, do you want to answer?
What, sir?
Do you want to answer this question? When we bought furniture for rupees 40,000, how it is going to affect the business?
Sir, our assets will increase and
Mm-hmm. Which asset will increase?
furniture.
Correct. Furniture will increase, right? And
Yes.
since we are, see, whenever nothing is mentioned in the question, always presume that we are buying something for cash. All right. So when this transaction will happen, it is going to increase the amount. Going to increase the furniture. Furnitures will increase in the business, and on the other hand, it is also going to affect the cash. Tell me how cash will get affected. Whether cash will increase or decrease.
Increase.
Cash will also increase. Furniture will also increase. When you buy
No, decrease.
furniture,
Cash will
you
decrease.
need to pay cash, na. So cash is going to reduce, na. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes, cash will reduce and furniture will increase. So this will be the effect. Cash will reduce, furniture will increase. Cash comes under what? Which category? It is an asset or a liability for a business. Cash is what, Habiba? Sorry, I'm sorry, Labiba.
Sir,
What
can you
is?
repeat the question? Your voice is very low.
I'm saying that cash is what? Cash is an asset or a liability.
Liability.
Cash is a liability. How it is a liability?
Is it an
That,
asset?
obviously, it is an asset, na. Cash comes under the current asset. If you are able to recall, I told you that you must recall and revise everything before attending the session. Otherwise, you won't be able to understand the accounting equation, na. All right, no issue. See, keep that in mind. Uh, uh, that cash is an asset. So when we buy furniture for rupees 40,000, it is going to reduce the amount of cash available. So cash will reduce and furniture will increase. Furniture is what? Furniture is also an asset. So one asset is reducing, one asset is increasing. Asset is increasing, and cash is also an asset. This is reducing. Got it? Is it clear to both of you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So note this down, please. Both of you, if you both of you, if anyone have any doubt, please let me know. Labiba and Zainab, if you are having any trouble solving or understanding anything, please tell me so that I can explain it further.
No, sir, no doubt.
No doubts. All right, done. Shall we move to the next slide? Done, Labiba?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Labiba will be answering this. Please, Labiba, tell me. Sold goods for rupees 50,000. How it is going to affect the business?
Sir, the cash will increase and the
Mhm.
assets will decrease.
Which asset will decrease?
The goods.
Perfect. Very good. So when you sell goods, so it is going to reduce the amount of goods available in the business, number one. And since we are selling goods for rupees 50,000, then we should presume that we are selling goods on cash. So cash is obviously going to increase. So cash will be increasing, goods will be decreasing. Goods are what? Goods is an asset. Goods is an asset. And cash are what? Cash is also an asset. So asset will be increasing and one asset will be decreasing. Goods will be decreasing, asset will be increasing. Got it? Both of you? Is this clear to both of you, Zainab? Okay.
Yes.
All right. So please note this down as well.
Sir, I'm done.
Done, sir.
Done. Next question. Zainab, please answer this. Goods purchased for rupees 10,000 on cash and 5,000 on credit. How it is going to affect the business?
Sir, goods will increase and
Goods will increase by what amount?
10,000.
Only 10,000? Are you sure? See, we are buying goods for rupees 10,000 on cash and also buying 5,000 on credit. So total value of goods that will increase will
15,000.
be correct. Goods will increase by
Yes.
15,000. All right. On the other hand, it is also going to reduce something. Tell me what will reduce?
Cash.
Correct. Cash will be reduced. Cash will reduce by what amount?
10,000.
10,000. What about the remaining 5,000?
Creditors.
Sir, credit.
It is obviously it is going to create a liability, na? So the
Yeah.
creditors will increase. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Creditors is going to increase. Now, are you able to identify goods comes under which category? Goods are what? Goods as an asset or a liability? Tell me quickly. Goods are what? Goods as an asset is an asset or a liability? Perfect. Very good.
Assets.
It is an asset. Number one. Cash are what? Cash is also
Assets.
asset. So one asset is reducing, one asset is increasing. And the creditors are what?
Liabilities.
Liabilities.
Liability.
Perfect. Got it? So this
Yes, sir.
transaction is affecting three areas: goods and cash and creditor. But eventually it is affecting two aspects, asset or liability. So what I've told you that any transaction at least affect two things, at least affect two things. It can affect two or more things at the same time. Like in this example, three things are getting affected. Goods are increasing, cash is reducing, creditors are also increasing. So this could also happen in in case of any transaction. All right, please note this down quickly and also confirm if anyone have any doubt. Please let me know.
Sir, done.
Done, sir.
Done. Okay. Next, please identify the effect of this event, this transaction. Open a bank account and deposited 1,000 in the bank. Tell me which two things of the business are going to be affected through this transaction.
Sir, over here we opened our own bank account, right?
Over here, we are opening the business account. Open a bank account for business. And we have deposited 1,000 in the bank. That 1,000 obviously belongs to the business itself. Zainab, Could you please answer this?
Sir, so like bank account will be our asset,
Correct. See,
and
firstly, bank will increase, na?
yes,
When we open a bank
1,000.
account depositing 1,000 in it, so bank will increase by 1,000, and on the other hand, cash is going to reduce by 1,000. Yes or no?
1,000.
1,000.
Yes,
So it is affecting two areas, bank and cash at the same time.
cash.
So this is what we call dual aspect. Bank is increasing, cash is reducing. Got it?
Okay, sir.
Please note this down.
Sir, can you explain this once again? It's a bit confusing. I'm not able to understand this one.
No problem, Laviva. Just a minute. Let me explain this. See, in this question, it is saying that open a bank account and deposited 1,000. So when it says that opened a bank account, that means we are opening a bank account for business, number one, right? And when it says deposited 1,000 in the bank, that means we have deposited cash in the bank, and that cash obviously belongs to the business as well. All right. So basically, let's suppose you have started a business, XYZ Limited. Labiba have started a business naming XYZ Limited. And what you have done, you have basically by depositing 1,000 into the bank, you opened a bank account by the name of XYZ Limited. You have opened a bank account for XYZ Limited. So you must have deposited 1,000 in the bank account. Is that right? So what will happen when you will deposit 1,000 in the bank account? It is going to increase the overall bank balance by 1,000. That means now XYZ Limited have a bank balance of 1,000. So that is going to increase the overall bank balance of the business. On the other hand, it is going to reduce the amount of cash available in the business. Since 1,000 is deposited in the bank account, so it is going to reduce the bank balance, and on the other hand, it is going to reduce the cash balance. On the other hand, it is going to increase the amount of bank balance available now. Is it clear now, Labiba?
Yes, sir. Yes.
100%. Shall we move to the next point?
Yeah.
Okay. Have you noted this down?
Yes, sir.
All right. Now before moving to the other example, let me make one more thing clear here. Like I said, owner's equity basically means what? Owner's equity is considered as a capital. Owner's equity are what? Owner's equity are capital. So whenever capital is invested in a business, it is a kind of liability upon the business. It is a capital is what? Capital is a kind of liability upon the business. Yes or no? Liability upon business. Tell me yes or no.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Now, if you are able to recall, I've told these things in the previous session as well. Like whenever firm generates revenue or profit, it is going to increase the overall liability of the business. Whenever firm, let's suppose the owner have made an investment of rupees 10 lakh as the capital, and using this 10 lakh, firm have generated a revenue of rupees 2 lakh. So that means the total liability of the business will now stand at 12 lakh instead of 10 lakh. Got it? And I've also told you that liability of the business will also increase when further capital is invested by the owner of the business. If you are able to recall, like for example, if for the owner have invested 5 lakh extra into the business, what will happen? It is going to increase the overall liability upon the business. Two things. On the other hand, if business made any expenditure, if business is making any expenditure, it is going to reduce the liability. Do you understand that whenever revenue is generated, liability of the business will increase. On the other hand, when expenditures are incurred, when payments are made, it is going to reduce the amount of liability. That is, it is going to reduce the amount of capital for the time being. You can say that whenever revenue is generated, capital increases. Whenever further capital is invested, capital increases. All right. On the other hand, when expenditure are incurred, capital reduces. When drawings are made, when owner withdrew fund for his personal purpose, it is also going to reduce the amount of capital available in the business. Got it? Is this clear? Both these points are clear, that amount invested by the owner as capital is a liability, and such liability, or you can say the overall capital of the owner, increases as and when firm generates revenue. On the other hand, the value of the capital reduces whenever firm is incurring any kind of expenditure. Also, when further investment is made by way of capital, it is also going to increase the total capital of the owner. Whereas if owner is withdrawing some fund from the business for his some personal purpose, it is going to reduce the amount of capital. So what I'm trying to say is that revenue affects the capital, expenditure affect the capital, drawings made by the business also affect the capital. You need to understand in what manner these affect the capital. Whenever revenue generated, capital increase. Whenever expenditures are made, capital reduces. Whenever drawings are made, capital reduces. Whenever further capital is introduced, capital increases. I hope these points are clear. Please confirm, Zainab and
Yes, yes.
Lily. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes, okay. All right, now see, pay attention, try to understand. What is written here is that owner's equity increases with the revenue. Owner's equity increases with the revenue. It also increases with the further investment, but it declines with the expenses. It also decreases with the withdrawal made by the owner. So just to simplify that, we can say capital increases when there is an increase in revenue, there is a further investment made by the owner, whereas it decreases when more expenditures are incurred and when the drawings are made by the owner for his personal purpose. Got it? Is it clear, both
Yes,
of you?
sir.
All right, so I want you to write this point, capital. I just want you to note this flow chart. Capital increases, capital decreases, the reason for increase, the reason for decrease. Just don't note these points, just note the flow chart.
Sir, we don't have to write the first
No,
four lines.
no, because it is everything is, I have explained the same thing in the flow chart. Na? You don't have to write it down again.
Okay. Sir, I'm done.
Done.
Yes, sir.
Both of you are okay. Moving on to the next point, asking you question based on the concept that we just covered, like paid rent for rupees 25,000. Now see, rent is what? Rent is a kind of, it is an expense, yes or no?
Yes.
And paying 25,000, that means it is going to affect the cash balance. So this is a business event, this is a business transaction. How it is going to affect the business? Number one, sir, when we make the payment of rent, it is going to affect the, first of all, cash, as well as on the other hand, it is also going to affect what? Tell
Rent.
me. Rent, that is obviously we are paying rent, but what it will affect whether it will be affecting the asset or liability or any other thing. It will be affecting the capital. Since as I told you, rent is what? Rent is an expense, right? And whenever expenses are made, how it affects the capital? It reduces the amount of capital. Got it? Both of you, is it
Yes.
clear? So whenever rent is paid for rupees 25,000, it will be affecting the cash balance and as well as the capital of the business, asset and the capital. Asset will increase and the capital will also increase. Asset will increase by way of cash, and capital, the rent is going to affect the capital of the owner as well. I hope it is clear to both of you.
Yes, sir.
Okay, moving on to the next point. You have written this point, na? Have you written paid rent for 25,000?
Yes, sir.
Sir, your voice is getting lower.
My voice is getting lower. Zainab, you are having the same problem?
Yes, sir.
Oh, I think my batteries are discharged and I don't have the new battery right now. You will have to manage the entire session without. Sorry, I won't be able to do anything. I'll try to speak louder if it helps you. Am I audible now, both of you, clearly?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
This one
sir.
is better.
Okay. All right. So I'll try to speak a little louder. So the next transaction is cash withdrawn rupees 10,000 from the bank. Tell me, cash is withdrawn from bank for 10,000. How it is going to affect the business? Cash withdrew rupees 10,000 from bank. How it is going to affect the business?
Cash is increasing,
Mm-hmm.
rupees
Perfect.
10,000,
Mm-hmm.
and
Correct.
bank balance is decreasing.
Correct. Cash will increase and bank will
10,000
reduce.
decrease.
So cash will increase
Yeah.
by 10,000, bank will reduce by 10,000. I hope this is clear, both of you.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right, moving on to the next slide. Keep on writing all these points. Na? All right, moving on to next one. Bank provided interest rupees 3,000. Tell me, bank is providing interest. So see, just pay attention, try to understand. Whenever bank pay interest, interest directly get credited to the bank account. Whenever bank pays interest, provided interest, bank is paying interest rupees 3,000. Bank never
Sir, you are not audible.
audible now. Janet,
Your voice just disappeared.
Janet, and Labiba. Am I audible, both of you? Both of you, am I audible to both of you? Hello. Hello. Am I audible to both of you now?
Yes, sir.
All right. So what I was saying is that whenever bank pays interest, bank provide interest, it basically means that bank is crediting interest directly into your bank account. Bank never makes the payment of interest in cash. So now tell me, whenever bank makes the payment, how it is going to affect the business? How it is going to affect the business? Number one, it is going to increase the overall bank balance. And since bank interest is a kind of revenue, na, it is a revenue. It is a revenue. Bank interest is what? Just like rent, bank interest is a revenue. So tell me, if bank credit interest of rupees 3,000, it is going to increase the bank balance, yes or no?
Yes.
When, yes, correct. But on the other hand, when bank pays interest, how it is going to affect the capital? How it is going to affect the capital? Bank interest, when bank interest is received, how it is going to affect the capital? Zainab and Labiba, am I audible, both of you? Labiba and Zainab.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. So what I was saying is that when bank makes the payment of interest, is it considered as a revenue? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So if it is a revenue, is it going to affect the capital? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
In what way it will be affecting the capital? Whether it will increase the amount of capital, or is it going to decrease the amount of capital?
Increase.
Increase the capital. Perfect. So when bank provide interest, it will increase the amount of asset and also increase the amount of capital. Please note this down. Please note it down. Let me know when you are done.
Sir, the interest from bank is different.
Interest from bank is same, na? What do you mean by different? Labiba, your question is not clear to me.
No, I'm asking that the bank is asset, but then how did the bank interest became capital? Like, it is confusing for
Okay,
me.
okay, all right. See, whenever bank pays interest, since this is going to be direct. Just a minute. Yeah. So whenever bank pays interest, first of all, your bank account increases, right? Bank balance increases, number one. And what I'm saying is that because bank interest is also a kind of revenue, na? It is a revenue. So won't it be affecting the capital also? The capital of the firm will also increase. Like I said, every transaction have two effects. Number one, it is going to increase the amount of capital, sorry, amount of asset for the business. Number one, by way of bank balance. On the other hand, since it is a revenue, and this revenue belongs to the owner, so this will eventually increase the amount of capital for the owner. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So in that way, it is a so you basically you are confused that when it is affecting the bank balance and how it can affect the capital at the same time,
Yes.
right? No, see, basically we are just reflecting the effect of this business transaction in two different areas. What I'm trying to explain to you, that this will first of all increase the bank balance, and then at the same time, from the owner's point of view, owners will also say that his overall capital also increased by 3,000, because business have generated a revenue of 3,000 by way of interest. So it is going to increase the amount of capital available in the business for the owner also. Got it? Am I clear now?
Yes, sir.
All right. Moving on to the last point. This is going to be our last discussion, and we'll discuss few more things in the next class. But for the time being, just tell me, rent received rupees 35,000. Tell me when rent will be received, how it is going to affect the business. Labiba,
Sir, the like the money we got, the cash, it will increase
cash will increase definitely, and rent is also
by
a
50,000. Yeah.
correct. Rent is also what? Rent is a
Revenue.
perfect. It is a revenue, and if it is a revenue, then is it going to affect the capital as well?
Yes.
How it is affecting the capital? It will increase the amount of
Increase.
capital. Correct. Got it?
Yes, sir.
All right. Please note this.
Sir, I'm done.
You're done.
Done,
All
sir.
right, let's do one more point. Commission received rupees 15,000. This one is very simple. Commission received. Tell me. Janab, could you please answer
Cash
this?
will increase 15,000.
Yes, cash will increase by 15,000, and because commission is what?
Commission
Revenue?
revenue.
Perfect. It is a revenue. So therefore, it is going
So
to affect the
increase in
capital
capital.
as well. Correct. All right. I hope these points are clear to both of you.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So Zainab and Labiba, in today's session, we have started a new chapter. And until now, we understood the meaning of the accounting equation. First of all, we started our discussion with the meaning of the accounting equation, wherein I have told you that accounting equation is a mathematical expression indicating the effect of any business transaction upon two areas of business. So what basically accounting equation says, according to accounting equation, it says that the total asset of the business is always equal to the total claims of the business. And I've also told you that the total claims can also be considered as the total equities, and equity is further divided as the owner's equity and the outsider's equity. Owner's equity is considered as the capital, outsider is simply as liability. So we can simplify the accounting equation by writing it as total asset equal to the liability plus capital, right? And then we did few questions based on the accounting equation. This is not actually the accounting equation. We were just trying to understand how any business event or transaction affect two areas of the business, two aspects of the business. So we have covered these examples. Through this example, I just wanted to make you understand that every transaction have to affect. It affect the, like in this example, this transaction is affecting the cash as well as the commission. That means it is affecting the asset as well as the capital. In the same way, all the other transactions that we did, you can see that all the transactions are affecting two areas of business. All right, I hope these points are clear to you. So we will be in the next class, we'll start with the numericals of this chapter. So in this chapter, these kind of question is generally asked, and this kind of statement is prepared to solve the accounting equation problems. All right, so we will be covering all these points in the next session, but make sure you revise everything that we did in this class, and only after revising the entire concept, you should attend the next class. All right, so I hope everything is clear. Labiba and Zainab, if you have any doubt, please let me know. Otherwise, we will end this session now.
No, sir, everything is clear.
Everything is clear. So just a request, make sure you revise everything before attending the next session. So this is it for today's class. Thank you, Labiba. Thanks for joining. We'll see you in the next class. Till then, take care. Goodbye.
Thank you, sir.